Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I am starting with the Paper Smooches stamp set. I have this adorable little donut image and I have a piece of Coordination's 110-pound cardstock. I cut this down so that I could create this strip or stack of donuts. So I'm inking this up with my Tuxedo Black Memento ink and I stamped it once, and now I'm going to apply a mask that I stamped on some Post-it note paper. It's complete sticky back. I'll have it linked below if you're interested. It's really good stuff. And then I'm going to stamp over that. So I'm just creating this stack of donuts, and I created two masks so that I could use two of them instead of just have one. So I'm going to stamp it again, slightly overlapping that previously stamped image. And then it looks like we're going to have this huge stack of donuts, which is awesome. I would love all of these donuts. I don't know about you guys, but I prefer chocolate donuts though. So then I'll just move the masks down as I go and mask off the previous one so that I can stamp another one. There is other masking paper that you can use, but this Post-it, it's cheap and I think it works just as well as other masks. And then for the areas that might have needed a little bit more ink for stamping, I'm just filling those in with my Tuxedo Black Memento marker. That way it'll look like it was stamped completely perfect. And then I went ahead and dried that ink so that it was completely dry, and then I'm going to go ahead and color these in with my Copic markers. So I'm starting by coloring all of the bottoms of the donuts with the E33, and then I'm adding a little bit of shading with the E35. And then I'll go back in and blend that out with the E33 once again. I'm going to be doing some pastel colors for the frosting, so I'm starting with a pink, which is the R20, and I'm going to color in two of these donuts with that color. And then the darker shade I'm going to be using is the R22. And then blending that once again with the R20. And then I'm also going to be using a green, so my light green is G21. And again, I'm going to color in two of these donuts with that color. So I'm just randomly picking another one. I'm not doing any order or anything like that, or pattern. And then the darker color is the G24. And then I'm going to blend that once again with the G21. And then I'm going to also make a blue donut. So I'm using the B12. We're just going to imagine that this is blueberry frosting. And then one yellow one, I'm coloring that with the Y11. We'll say this one is lemon. I should have done a chocolate one though, because everything needs chocolate, right? Okay, so then I'm going to adhere this onto a piece of black cardstock, just using my ATG gun for this. I'll line that up to make sure that all of the edges are even, and then I can press that down into place. For my card base, I have my my white cardstock, my white card base, and then I'm using this medium dot stencil from Simon Says Stamp and the Hickory Smoke Distress ink. I'm just lightly going over this area so that I can create a spotted background. And if you guys don't have this stencil yet, it is a must-have. I would use it on every single card if I could. And this will be linked below as well if you're interested. Okay, so I have my background. Next, before I adhere down my donuts, I'm going to adhere down some ribbon. I want a little bit of texture in my background. So I have this May Arts ribbon. It's a light green. And I'm going to put this kind of on the side of that donut piece. So I'm using my Tombow Mono Multi Glue. I just put a strip of that on there. And then I'm going to place my ribbon down. And then I'm just going to hold it into place for a few seconds while the glue adheres to the ribbon. And I'm going to wait until it's dry to cut off the extra just so that it doesn't move. I'm going to do the same thing for this pom-pom ribbon. It's white. This is also from May Arts. And I actually had to go back in and use my multi-matte medium for this one to stick down. It just didn't want to adhere down right away, so I used the multi-matte medium, and that worked really, really well. So next I'm going to stamp my sentiment. I have a piece of vellum. I'm just going over this with my powder bag to cut down any static electricity. And then I'm going to mount my stamp on my clear acrylic block. I chose the Celebrate one. I'm going to ink this up with my Versamark ink. And then stamp that right onto my vellum. And then I'm going to sprinkle this with some Hero Arts white embossing powder. I'll tap off the extra and then heat that up and melt all that embossing powder with my heat tool. So then I'm going to adhere my sentiment down first because I need to put it onto the backs of that black cardstock. I have 2 pieces of Scotch tape. I'll just adhere one side of this with my tape onto the back of that donut piece and then fold it around to the front. And then tape down the other end on the back. I find this is a really, really good way to use vellum because then you don't have to put any adhesive on the front and then it won't show through. So I'm just putting some adhesive on the back of that black cardstock and then I can adhere this right next to my ribbon. Alright, a few final touches. I'm going to use my We Are Memory Keepers 1/4 inch corner chomper and round the bottom 2 corners. And then I'm covering all of the donut frostings with the Distress Rock Candy Stickles. This is a really fun stickles to use because it's not really sparkly. The glitter in it is more of a matte finish, so it just creates that kind of like that sugar look on each of the donuts. And then of course you just want to let that dry completely before you mail it or give it to somebody. And the stickles, it really doesn't take that long to dry. Alright, so you can see that sparkle and shine on the front of my card. And that is my finished card for today, so I really hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, make sure you subscribe to my channel if you're not already. We would love to have you here. And I will see you back here for my next video. Bye!